Welcome, everybody. This is Jason Drees. It's the Jason Drees Show. It's Monday, episode 9. If you're here with me today, open up that chat box. Type in the chat box where you're dialing in from today. Today's going to be a good show. Apparently, my summer farmer tan is showing with this my new V-neck t-shirt, which is funny. And today we're talking about power. And as a coach, I've had an interesting experience over the past, 13 years as a professional coach. I see a lot of people. I do a lot of growth myself. I've been a professional entrepreneur for 18 years. Professional. That's funny. I've been an entrepreneur for 18 years now, almost 19. And, solely providing my own income from my own business for close to 10 years now. And also have been growing a lot along the way. I've published a book. I'm 52 years old, father of 4, divorced. And I grow a lot, like we all, as you can imagine, like my life is literally a never ending expansion of growth and capacity because I play at my full potential as best I can all the time. And as I come across clients all the way across the spectrum, lots of different types of clients. I come across clients who are playing at their full potential. I come at clients who are not playing at their full potential. Come at clients in the middle. And there's one theme that comes up a lot, has come up in my life, and I can see it in a lot. And it's kind of building up on what we talked about last week was really the concept of power. And owning your power. So if you're listening live right now, do me a favor, open up that chat box, drop in the chat. I'm here. Type in where you're dialing in from. I'm in Austin, Texas. Let's have an interactive conversation today. Because there's this thing about, and the personal help books will say, oh, you got to own your power and you got to take control and all that stuff. But it's a lot harder than it actually seems, because I think what happens is we don't even realize that we are hiding from our power or using our power or not using our power. So let me think about this for a second. Like, have you ever noticed that you are, or ever had the feeling that you are capable of more than this? Like there's more potential than this. Like there's more power than this. And have you ever noticed that? Like, if you want to drop that in the chat, that's great, because I've had that feeling a lot of time. And sometimes it feels like we're putting down the gas pedal and the tires are spinning, but the rubber's not meeting the road. The traction's not hooking up, like it's spinning, So one thing I've noticed is that there's the level that we play at, and then there's the level of our potential. And most times there's a big gap between those two. And the reason there's a gap is because there's really a comfort zone of how we operate, because we are operating in a way that fits in. And a lot of times we default to fitting in and not ruffling feathers and fixing things, right? Like, so have you ever noticed that you're not playing at the level that you want and you're not sure why? And one of the themes I've been talking about lately is performance, right? And this world we live in has conditioned us to perform, to show up a certain way. And if you listen to last week's call, you notice that there's like, I talked about the story when I was performing. I talked about my discovery of performing, and I talk about kind of moving into that level of the next level. And for those of you listening, you can calm down. The show may start a few minutes after the top of the hour. Okay. You don't have to start blowing up my phone. I'm waiting for people to get here. Jeez. So there's this level of engagement with life. And a lot of times there's a fear and we get stuck in this pattern. But at the same time, like the biggest contradiction that I'm seeing is people like putting in time and energy and effort to play to like get greater results, but at the same time they end up playing in the same structure pattern. They just get more committed to doing the same thing over again. So the question I have for you is, where are you right now? Like, if you think about like your power, your potential, the max capacity, 100%, and the level that you play at could be 0%, right? What percentage are you? Type in the chat, like, what percentage are you from 0 to 100% of your level? Because I'm guessing there's another feature there. There's another option to get to a higher level. And if you're listening right now, why? And if you're not at 100%, why is that? Notice when I ask that question, I'm guessing there's some discomfort that starts to come up. But man, this performance in our world is honored, right? We watch the biggest performers of our world make the most money. And now you've got Instagram where everybody's performing, trying to be this way, and showing this amazing life and taking pictures in front of expensive cars, like all of that. Because they're trying to portray this image of themselves, this perfection image. And we're also going through this shift where, you know, this AI thing can make everybody look professional and dialed in. So the only thing that's really going to stand out moving forward is authenticity, which is not the polished self. I was talking to Brandon Turner a couple of weeks ago, and he thinks the future is actually ugly because everything can be polished. So ugly is actually authentic, which is original, which I thought was an interesting perspective. And there was a time when I was chasing more power. I was chasing more success. Does that make sense to you? Can anybody relate to that? Tell me if you can. And there was a time when like something clicked and everything snapped into place. And I am an entirely different person to that next level. And one of the things that radically shifted, and I'll tell you about that experience in a minute, that causes the shift. The thing that shifted was my ability to make decisions. Because we all make decisions all day. Now, you know, when I was working for Tony Robbins and I'd go to his events, he'd talk about decision is the Latin word, means cut off and blah, blah, blah. So it basically means to cut off all other options. But how many times do you make a decision and then contradict it by doing something different? Like how often do you do that? One thing that happens all the time, people dieting, right? Losing weight is one of the simplest things to do in the world. All you have to do is eat less calories than you burn. How do you figure out how many calories? Jump on a scale, talk to ChatGPT, and it'll tell you how many calories you burn. It's not that hard. But why don't people do it? Because they change their mind. The best example I can give you for a decision is, have you ever taken a 6 a.m. flight before? And depending on where you live, I'm guessing if you take a 6 a.m. flight, you got to wake up at 4 a.m. And I've asked this question to hundreds of people, and only one person said they snooze. But everybody else I've ever asked this question to is that when your alarm goes off at 4 a.m. for a 6 a.m. flight, do you end up hitting the snooze button or do you get out of bed? The answer I hear every time is you pop out of bed. And the reason you pop out of bed every time is because the decision was made to get out of bed, which means you did not allow yourself the option of not getting out of bed. And it's one of the best ways for making change in your life. Because if you're struggling to make decisions, then you're just like impotent, limp decision-making skill. And it's very easy to fix. It's very, very, very easy to fix. And sometimes we can hide behind the self-judgment that comes up when we are doubting ourselves, as opposed to grow into the new version, because sometimes the new version is going to cause waves. What do you think? Let me ask you this, for those of you listening right now, if you were to open up that chat box and if you were to play at 100% of your full potential, do you think you would start making waves and cause a little chaos that you don't want to deal with? What do you think? Be honest there. Do you think? I'm guessing if you're not at the full level that you want to be at, there's some avoidance going on. There's people pleasing, there's caring what other people think, there's playing small so you don't look bad, there's fear of being alone, don't want to stand out. And I'll tell you, I've had all of those experiences. And right now in my life, I stand out quite a bit. I do not have the circle of community that I want. Being 52 years old, married with 4 kids, you don't have a ton of single friends. So going through a divorce kind of causes things, especially when you relocate to a different state. Because most other people at my level are just working all the time, right? So having a circle in person is like, and I've had exposure to other communities around me, but that's not my level. And I just didn't like being around people like that. So I've got to the point where I can't sacrifice like my own self-worth and my confidence, my validation of what I do to myself is more important than everything else. Because I live my life by a standard. The standard I live my life by is I do not settle. I do not hold back. And if I can think of any target, I will never back down from any goal ever too big, ever. Doesn't matter how terrifying it is. I will always push forward because, and you want to know why? Why did I set that decision? Why did I set the standard to play that level in my life? I set the standard to play at that level in my life because I realized that when I was going through coaching in 2013, when I got into the Tony Robbins coach training program where my intense growth started, I started to break down all these generational patterns of financial scarcity, of lack of confidence, of kind of like doing difficult things, right? Because I wasn't taught that growing up. And I started breaking through those. And then when I started parenting my own kids, I could see the option of repeating what I was parented or changing that. And I realized in that moment, I am not going to pass any limitation to any of my 4 sons simply because it's uncomfortable or because I'm scared to do it or because people may not like me. And it took me decades to break the financial scarcity limited point of view that I grew up in. And I guess a lot of you I'm guessing a lot of you listening are also have grew up in that. Those conversations when you were a kid, when your parents are in the kitchen talking, those heavy conversations about money. Like all I heard when I grew up is we can't afford it. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. So I grew up thinking we can't afford it. And so, but what I learned from becoming a coach was that whatever the words come out of my mouth is going to impact my boys. So even back in 2013, when I was first a Tony Robbins coach and I got laid off from my job and I was trying to start a new job and I couldn't find a job. I just got laid off from my other job, had a second baby due in 2 weeks, had no savings. My startup company kind of cleared that up, trying to be an entrepreneur in the first company, having no idea what I was doing. I'm trying to build a business, trying to be a Tony Robbins coach, trying to find a job. And we were like literally on food assistance from the state for about 8 months. And the boys would ask for things. And never once, ever in the past, in my oldest son's 15, not once has he or any of his 3 younger brothers heard me say the words, we cannot afford it. Not once. Because I'm not going to put that limited financial view on him. Because the truth is, it's easy to make money. The reality, it's easier not to make. It's easier to not make money than it is to make money. That's the fact. So I decided that I'm not passing any of this stuff down. So therefore, I raised my standard. So what standard do you need to raise right now? Do you need to change the game? Do you need to play at a higher level? And part of this goes with owning your power, your capacity, your potential. And one thing that blocks us from doing that is the fear of making waves or the fear of not being liked or, oh my God, they're not going to like me. It's not going to go good. They may upset me. Well, the thing that I've realized is you're only going to get hate from people below you. You'll never get hate from people above you. So the real question is, are you living your life for yourself or are you living it for other people? Because I spent a lot of my time living my life for other people. And if you go back and watch the first episode of the show, when I talked about how I came to be with this program, I realized I was building programs the way I was supposed to. I was doing this. I was pricing myself the way I was supposed to. I was sacrificing myself the way to make other people happy. I was doing things to carry additional staff in the business that I didn't need anymore. Like all these things because I thought I was supposed to do that. I was even combing my hair and my beard and dressing in a certain way because I thought other people would like me better. And I'll tell you, in the past, this is like week 3 since I stopped it. I cannot tell you how amazing I feel. I feel amazing. I feel liberated. The business growth I was after has started to flow in, and all the shit I was doing before didn't work. I literally had to stop all of that. And all of a sudden I'm in this space of, I don't know what's going to happen. And all of a sudden stuff's coming in. Can any of you relate to that? Would you like that? I'm assuming you can tell that I operate with a level of certainty. Now, personality-wise, I've always had a little bit of fuck you to the world. I always had. At the same time, I was a big people pleaser. I wanted people to like me. I didn't want to be alone. I've been in long-term relationships my entire life. This is the longest I've ever been single. I've been single for 2 years right now. And it was interesting because initially I was like chasing women. I need to get back into a relationship. And then I finally realized, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Because the answer is the way that you get through the neediness, the way you get through the loneliness, the way you get through the codependence is not some magical switch. It's like you got to sit in the discomfort until it goes away. And when you sit in the discomfort till it goes away, that's when things start changing. And unfortunately, I wish every one of you who's watching this live or the replay plays at the highest level of your life. I wish every one of you did. I really do. The reality is the vast majority of you are going to stay the same. You are. Because there's a lot of momentum currently around being average. The world we live in, this world coddles people who are average. You can get antidepressants. You can get painkillers. You get TV shows about you. You get friends. You'll never get heat from people around you for being average. Where you get the heat, where you get the slack is when you start to stand out and make waves. And then you start to, like, if you stand out, make waves and then crash, that's what they'll really get you. But if you stand out and crush it, well, then they'll worship you. Like, what the hell? This world we live in is odd. You think? What are your thoughts on that? Right? So what if there is an innate level of power within inside you that you have not tapped into yet? And what if the key to tapping into it is simpler than you think? It's much simpler than you think. And I'll tell you, because it is. And the funny thing is that human nature is funny. Like, what you don't understand is that there's discomfort either way. You can experience the discomfort of being great and the struggles of growth and expansion and challenge and all of that, or you can struggle with being broke and being average. Choose your pain, right? I'd much rather choose the former. And the thing that woke me up was an interesting story. I've told this a handful of times. The infamous dog food story. So in 2013, again, I got the job for Tony Robbins. I got laid off from my other job. Couldn't find a new job. I had been in the Bay Area for 16 years, and I worked in technology sales, and I was in tech. And the entire 15 years that I was there would always be people who worked in Sacramento and would drive to the Bay Area for work. It like happened all the time. And then when all of a sudden, when I got the job, moved to Sacramento, then I couldn't get a job there. They wouldn't do that anymore, which I thought was interesting. But it was really life helping me. So I was trying to get a job. I was struggling. We were like barely paycheck to paycheck. We're on getting food assistance from the state. And I just started coaching for Tony Robbins. I'm the most excited I've been. And I'm also broke because it doesn't pay that much money. It literally paid like $30 a half hour session. And you can't work 40 hours a week as a coach. You can maybe work like 25. That's a lot of work, coaching work. So getting my income back up had been challenging. And one day I'm talking to another coach on my team. He was named Gabriel Patrick. He was in my training class, but he had been coaching longer than I had, even though we started working for Tony Robbins at the same time. So this is early, like Q1 2014. I had just started coaching for Tony Robbins in August, September of 2023. And I'm ramping up and I'm playing the game over there and I'm proving myself so I can get more clients, because it's a little bit of an old school hazing mentality. At least when I was there, it was. And working my way up, I'm on a coaching call. I'm talking to him and it turns into a coaching call. And basically I was stressed because I needed to pay rent next week and I didn't have money for rent. And at the time we were in a 3-bedroom house. It was like $2,000 in Rockland, California, something like that. And I said, I need $2,000 by the end of the week. And it was Monday. And Gabriel's like, okay, well then go get it. I'm like, I'm going to go get it. And he goes, okay, well now record that as a video and go post it to the Tony Robbins team page. Because at the time we would communicate with each other through a Facebook group. And it was an internal Facebook group. And there was about 120 coaches on the team, plus the coaching team leadership. Like Tony wasn't involved at the level, at that organization at that level when I was there, but it was like the coaching leadership team, the trainers and all that stuff. And what you put in there was very important because it's like they held you to it. And even with the high performing coaches there was the handful that stood out. So I'm sitting here going, he's like, record a video saying, I'm going to have $2,000 by the end of the week. And if not, I'm going to eat a can of dog food. And I went to Gabriel and I was like, I went to respond and I'm like, and like words would not come out of my mouth. They like kind of like stuck there. The words like, and he was a good coach and he knew my leverage points. And my oldest son, Dash, was 3 years old at the time. And he goes, hey, Jason, let's just imagine we're 10 years from now. Dash is in junior high and he's hanging out with his friends after school. And after school, one of Dash's friends asks him, hey, Dash, why do you live with your grandparents? And he said, well, and Dash says, well, yeah, we live with our grandparents because my dad wasn't willing to eat dog food to create financial independence. And it was this like gut punch, that just kind of nailed me, like, oh. And he's like, or would you like Dash to say to his friends, we live this amazing life because my dad was willing to do anything, including eat dog food to create financial independence. And I was like, all right, I'm in. So I posted the video and it was one of the most terrifying things I've done. Monday goes by. I'm like on Tuesday, like my stomach is twisting in knots. I'm like, I threw this major commitment that I had no control over because I can't force somebody to say yes. I was terrified. Am I going to go flame? I was so excited about becoming a coach. It was the first thing I was excited for in my entire life. That I was like really first type of work I was ever really excited for. And I'm like, did I just blow the whole thing up? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Wednesday or Thursday, I got a couple appointments. Friday, I get 2 clients in the Rockland Chamber of Commerce who agree to sign up for a coaching contract for exactly the amount that I needed. And I'm like, this is great. And then they said, but can it's 4:30 on Friday. Can we take care of this on Monday? I'm like, we can absolutely take care of this on Monday. So I wasn't going to screw up those deals by saying you have to pay me now. And I could have very easily gone to the Facebook page and said, hey, everybody, I got the contracts. I got 2 contracts. They're paying on Monday. But you know something? That's not what I committed to. I committed to having the dollars in hand by midnight on Friday, and it did not happen. So while I hit the target, I did not meet the timeline. So therefore, I failed the deal. I did not succeed. I failed. So I had to do the punishment. And I had earlier in the week talked to Gabriel. I'm like, can it be like that kind that looks like steak? Can I put ketchup flavor? And he's like, no, it needs to be generic liver flavor out of the can. So I got generic liver flavor. And Saturday morning, I go in to record the video. And I had no idea. I didn't think it would be as disgusting as it was. And I walk into my office. I close the door. I have a cup of water. I've got this thing. And something clicked in that moment before I did that. Because I walked into the room like it was a punishment. But that's when I realized it wasn't a punishment. It was a decision to do something disgusting because I fucking said so. So I opened that can. I started eating. I got about 3/4 of the way down. What I didn't know before I started eating dog food is that dog food has bones in it. You can't chew it. Humans can't chew bones. So I'm like gagging these bones down. I got about 2/3 of the can down before it started to come back up. And it transformed me in that moment. It transformed me. Because what actually happened is that the part of me that used to set these big goals and live in the vision of these big goals. And the second I would fail, I would just set another big goal to live in the vision of that next goal. I did that over and over again. And that version of me, that part of me died that week. When we got to July, the first weekly team meeting in July, our coaching director goes to announce the performance for the first half of the year. And the number one metric we were rated on was renewal percentage. That's the number one metric, meaning when your client's contract ended, what percentage of them renewed? Now, the standard that Roberts wanted was 80%, even though most of the team was below that. My number out of 120 coaches was number one. I was 100% renewal rate for the first half of the year out of 120 coaches, and I hadn't even worked there a year. The next year, I made triple what every single other coach made on the team. All of a sudden, I'm coaching half the coaches on the team because they all need to play to my level. And the funny thing is, the majority of them I coached did not get to my level. They didn't. Because I can show you the doorway, and I can help you walk through the doorway, and I can give you the tips and tools, and I can give you the best success potential. I can set you up to step through that doorway as better than anybody else on the planet. But at the end of the day, you've got to walk that talk to that next level. So are you playing at the level that you want? Or are you playing at the level that's comfortable? And are you settling now? And are you settling for, when's the last time you took a vacation in another country for a week? When's the last? Oh, it's the economy's down. Yep. Bullshit. That's an excuse that losers use. How do I know? Because I used to do that. My business was declining for years. I blamed it on the economy. I got my shit together. I followed what was right, which is my internal guidance. I started stepping into my full power, realizing how I work is not funnels and lead magnets. It's talking. So I started talking, and I started talking, doing my magic, and shit starts happening. The biggest thing that changed everything is I decided to stop performing. It was liberating. Liberating. So let me know in the chat right now, what is coming up for you? Have you had a dog food moment? Do you need to create a dog food moment? Are you ready to step up? What do you think? I see some familiar names in the chat. How many of you are not doing what you know you should be doing? And then why are you accepting that? Some of you have heard me tell you this over and over again, and I'm hearing the same answers out of you. What are you waiting for? And maybe if you're in the same spot and you can't get out of the spot, maybe you just need to accept that you're supposed to be average and nothing else. So the chat is silent. Not surprised. This is an intense conversation. But let's see if we can clean this up a little bit. Would you like me to guide you and repeat after me to move into your power? If I get enough yeses in the chat, I'll do it. All right, then. All right. So repeat after me. I take full ownership of my life and everything in it. I am making a decision right now to play at the level of my full potential. I understand that there's going to be discomfort in growth to my full potential. But I also understand there is discomfort where I'm at right now. And I choose the pain of growth versus the pain of being stagnant. I am going to break out of the world of being average. And I accept all of the consequences that come with that. If I stand out, so be it. If people don't like me, so be it. If I upset other people, so be it. If my growth makes other people feel small, so be it. If other people don't like what I'm doing, so be it. I'm not serving anyone by being a scaled down version of my full potential. I am ready to do something about it right now. I am going to take an action right now to change this. I choose to believe this 100%, past, present, and future. All versions of me. I take ownership of anything contradictory to this, and I release it now. Now let's get a sense of a version of you who is in that full power, taking the action you believe in, saying the things you believe in, the version of you that's fearless. Feel that version of you in the future that's fearless, that does what you believe is right, plays at the level you want, is not swayed by other people's influence, voice, comments, is not afraid of being alone, is not afraid of losing people who are not in alignment with you, who has found your passion, found your magic. And what is one action you can take right now to make that happen? If you want my help, I drop my phone number in the chat. You can text me right there. You want a 60-minute session to break through that? Because what you don't realize is that we are, whether you believe in religion or God or whatever, like we live in an attraction-based universe. You are creating the game that you're playing. The reason my life is accelerating right now is because I've got rid of some of the biggest contradictions in my energy, in my frequency, that was affecting my ability to attract what I want. If you are thinking you should do one thing and saying another, or thinking you should do one thing and taking a different action, can you see that congruence there? The way to create the life you want is your entire being needs to be in alignment with that next frequency. My frequency is in aligned with this mindset that I created over the past 15 years. There's nothing I can't do. There's no limit to what I can do. There's always people I can help. There's always expansion. There's no limit to how much money I can make. It will always come to me. I always know what to say. It doesn't matter if I screw up, because I'm human. If I don't get it right, well, I wasn't meant to get it right. If something goes off right before my live show that upsets me, and I'm mad when I start the show, that means life wanted me mad when I started that show. I don't live with regret. I don't spend time judging myself from the past. I don't spend myself comparing myself to other people. The only person I compare myself to is my success. If you work with me, this is the frame that I'm in. And that's why when people are in my frequency, they elevate up, because my frequency is more powerful and more clear than the average person, massively more. That's why when you watch these videos, you get a lift. Have you noticed that? This frequency lifts you up because I'm broadcasting clarity. I'm broadcasting an authentic, clear representation of what is possible within you. Now, you may not become a coach like me, but you can absolutely duplicate the frequency of my mindset, which is there's nothing I can't do. I live my life on my terms. Life helps me grow. If there's something challenging on the way, I'm supposed to go through something challenging. I will always figure it out. Money will always come in. There's no limit to the money that comes in. Those are all thoughts and beliefs that I have created in me over the past 15 years of intense personal growth. When you talk to me one-on-one, you're in my container. Right now, you're in my container. That's why you feel so powerful and strong. So what could you do? You could text me that number if you want to talk one-on-one. You can watch these videos again. This is episode 9. There's 8 other episodes. You can jump on my podcast called Transform. There's 200 episodes there. The more you immerse yourself in this level, the more it's going to bring up the contradictions that are preventing you clearly creating what you want, because your obstacle is that you think that the solution is working harder. And the reason that you think the answer is working harder or working more strategic or getting a better plan is because you and I all grew up in a reality where action creates reality. But in the past 10, 15 years, life has changed. We now live in a reality that action creates reality, but the higher version of it now is frequency creates reality. You're literally walking around with an out-of-date manual, guidebook on how to be successful and wondering why it's not working. If you want to know how it works, follow me, follow this. And you can listen to Joe Dispenza or anybody else, but we're all talking about the same stuff. You got to get into alignment to create. That's not about action. Notice I never talk about taking enough action. I'm not. How do you get into alignment? You remove the contradiction. You remove the thing that's preventing the alignment. You remove that, and then you're left with alignment. If you believe it, you 60% certain you can hit your goal. If you take that 40% doubt and get rid of it, it now becomes 100%. One of the easiest ways to massively amplify your power, this is like the number one way. Number one is doing what you say you're going to do. It is so underrated. It is the most powerful thing. Why is it so powerful? Because internal congruence is more powerful than external congruence. Externally, a lot of you do what you say you're going to do. And if you've been in the corporate world like me for 30 years, you'd probably agree that the amount of people you come across in the business world who will do what they say every single time is like a single-digit percentage. I was always baffled by that number. So you've got a lot of people some people that will do externally what they say they're going to do, but still not do what they know they should do internally. Every time you do what you say you're going to do, your confidence increases. Every time you do, you contradict yourself, you whack your confidence away. If your confidence is shit, it's because you're not doing what you say you're going to do. Now, here's the answer. You don't have to become Superman and get everything done. You just only need to say stuff that you will do. And if there's something you're avoiding, like a conversation or a relationship or a confrontation or something, and you know, and you're avoiding it, like that, you're just dragging out. You've got to face that. The sooner you face that, the sooner you will grow and transform it. I've seen people hide from that question for decades. And when you see those people, they're like a shell of a human. Seen anybody like that? Shell of a human. Like, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? You could literally drop dead tomorrow. Actually, no, you could drop dead in 10 fucking minutes. And the reality is everyone else is so consumed with themselves. Most of them aren't even paying attention to what you're doing anyway. So funny being a human. There's no reason not to go big. This whole game in your head, this conversation, oh my God, I can't do that. I don't know how. Like, well, then go fucking figure it out. There's so much power in decision. There's so much energy in that. So remember, you want to unlock your power, do what you say you're going to do. Number one, you want to start losing weight, lose weight. I finally clicked in my head that one. I've dropped 3 pounds of fat in the past 2 weeks just by tracking my food. It's not that hard. Am I fat? Well, I'm like 20% body fat. It's more than I want to be. I want to get my blood pressure down, get my body dialed in, and I'm finally doing it. If I can do it at 52, you can do it too. So that was my little rant right there. Do you guys like it when I get heated? So, how many of you are afraid of talking to me? Some of you? Anyway, Anybody have a question? If you throw questions in the chat, I will answer them right now. Question in the chat. Do you start with your body and then move to your other goals? No, I do them all at the same time. Massive change is easier than minor change. Now, you also need to make sure it's logistically possible. You could be at a phase of your life where your business is taking 18 hours a day and 3 hours at the gym just physically can't happen. Now, scheduling that to a time that works with your current life situation is smart. But for those of you who are questioning discipline or avoiding the work or those things, like they're just fucking feelings. They're just fucking feelings. And here's how you do it. Stop giving yourself the out. Stop it. Stop giving yourself the option of not doing it. Stop giving yourself the option of not being great. You want to lose weight? Simple. Remove the option of eating too much food. You want to be in better shape? Remove the option of not working out and exercising. It's not that hard. Oh, I'm tired. Yeah, I know. You're tired. The first couple of weeks is going to suck. But you know what it's like to stay in that spot. This is easier than you think. Strengthening your decision-making muscle will change your life. And my rant today is at an end. Any other questions before I wrap? Gene says, who's afraid of Jason? There's some people out there afraid of me. Somebody says, I'm trying to gain a few pounds. Nothing is working. Then you need to eat more protein. If you weigh 100, let's say, for example, you weigh 120 pounds, you need to eat 120 grams of protein a day. You weigh 150 pounds, you need to eat 150 grams of protein a day. I'm currently 220 pounds, currently 20% body, about 19% body fat, and I'm eating about 250 grams of protein a day. If you're not gaining muscle, you're not eating enough protein. Period. Anybody else? And I'm curious, which of your previous shows right now has been your favorite so far? Which episode? Has anybody watched all of them? Yeah, Debbie, use ChatGPT. Talk to ChatGPT. This is my age, my fitness, my body. This is what I want to do. And what I do with nutrition is I found something that I can eat of that's simple. Like I eat a shit ton of chicken thighs. Breasts I kind of struggle with because they're dry and they're hard to cook, and I get stuck in my throat. So I eat a lot of chicken thighs. I probably eat like 5 pounds of chicken thighs in like 2 to 3 days. And then I eat protein shakes. I do a shake in the morning that's got avocado, a banana, spinach, some Udo's oil, protein powder. I do collagen in my coffee. I do 2 cups of coffee in the morning that have collagen in them. So by the time I get back from the gym, I've already had 100 grams of protein. Protein's the way. And if you're a man, check your testosterone. That's a big game changer too. Awesome. Cash and Dash show. That's a great show if you haven't listened to it. Those guys are funny. Factor meals. Yeah, nice. All right, everybody. We got an extra topic. We got more topics this week. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what I'm talking about yet. In case you know, I kind of flow it, but I think we're going to talk about the upgraded formula. What list what are you talking about, Debbie? Yogurt's good too. Oikos yogurt's 20 grams of protein in each one. Debbie, you said what list? We're going to wrap up here in a second. Yeah, well, I'm happy to go back on the show, but be careful, Mr. Host of Cash and Dash, because I'm gonna be on you if you bring me on. I will be on you, man. So, all right, everybody. Hope you have an awesome day. It's Monday. This week's going to be a fun show. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jason Drees. This is the Jason Drees Show. If someone else would benefit from this, send them the invite. Let's get more people live Debbie, if you can watch the replay on YouTube to get it. Talk to ChatGPT. If let's get more people live, because the reason we want more people live, because the higher the energy of this call. Yeah, and I hate saying like and subscribe, but apparently I have to do that since I'm a YouTube show guy now. But anyway, I'll see you soon. If you want more content, check out my podcast. Start at the beginning, like the first 10 were these monologues that were complete fire. If you've got any thoughts on the show, what do you want to hear about? My show page will be up soon. In the meantime, you can text me, shoot me an email. Have an awesome day, everybody. It was great to see you all. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all soon. Go get it. Bye.